So, Deputy President Gachagua was yesterday in Nairobi in the CBD, driving around from the OTC to the Marikiti to the Muthurwa market and so on, and basically was preaching against the governor and trying to spread a lot of fear of the numerical strength of the Kikuyu community in the city. I expect, just as the way he has confessed himself to be a villager, I don't expect anything different from Gachagua. But it surprises me a lot that Kenya has a myriad of problems. But what the deputy president in the country can wake up to is to go and preach and say that he is being targeted, as an individual. And he's being targeted because he's a Kikuyu. And for him not to be targeted, despite not giving any benefit to the individual Kikuyus in the city or elsewhere, he wants to be protected and to be called the real kingpin of the mountain, king yani mfalme wa Murima. So I find it very absurd that in this day and age, Gachagua can still find it very convenient to come and preach against the president. The president is facing a lot of issues, and one of the main challenges now is that some people who are in the in the kitchen cabinet of Gachagua and Uhuru feel entitled to the presidency. The problems of Ruto stem from the fact that some people are so entitled to the presidency that they feel that not any other person should be president but themselves, or from their own families or the communities. It happened during the Moi times. You saw when, a good number of the individuals who were very close to the Kenyatta ganged up and wanted to ensure that Moi didn't last long in the seat, and somebody else from the Kikuyu community came and took up the seats. And Moi, when he was in the presidency for 24 years, the Kikuyu working class was weaponized against the presidency of Daniel Arap Moi. Moi was not a good person. But he was not a perfect person. A lot of things he did well, education and so on. But one thing which was evident in his presidency is that, the Kikuyu community was weaponized against him, and the civil society was very conveniently used that, which is also still very much dominated by the people from the individuals from the Kikuyu community. So when we were campaigning for Raila to be president, I think we saw the same when individuals who were very close to then President Uhuru Kenyatta also saw an opportunity of having somebody from the mountain as the running mate, despite Martha Karua not showing any ability to deliver or even believe in the visions of Raila Amolo Odinga, or even deliver any seat, or deliver any vote to Raila. Remember that Martha Karua, even in her own polling stream, leave alone the polling station, she could not deliver the polling stream. Polling stream is just 700 people. I wonder why she could not even put up much effort to convince people who vote with her in the same stream to vote for Raila Amolo Odinga. So I believe that if Raila became president, just as we wished, I believe that he would be dead now. I believe that he would have been poisoned. I believe that Martha Karua would be president now. I think that the schemes against President Ruto is not because he is the worst president we have seen. Ruto is not the worst president. People are trying to portray him so, and I wonder why his political supporters are not coming out to state this clearly. You saw President Moi, when he became president, within 2-3 years, he was very unpopular. In fact, people really supported the coup against him. He was very unpopular because of the propaganda from the influential Kikuyu leaders, and also then the working class were weaponized to fight his regime. When Kibaki became president, and because of the National Rainbow Coalition agreement, it became so unpopular within 2 years that he lost a referendum in 2005. He lost a referendum in 2015 and eventually lost the election of 2007. And he had to kill thousands to stay in power. He had to kill so many people. And then you never had Kabando making noise about the misrules, you know, the authoritarianism, the kidnappings, the murders. Even when Bai died, Bai was murdered. You never had Kabando or Paul Muite. You never had Martha Karua say that, oh, Kibaki ameanza kuua watu. It is very convenient now to place it on Ruto. When Uhuru became president, by the end of 2015, he was very unpopular. He was very unpopular. In fact, when people got to 2017, remember he lost the election, and the Supreme Court was very clear that kulikuwa na shida. Alijaribu kukarabati hivi na hivi na wale, and the person who helped him, you know, stay in power and recover his presidency when he was spending all his time drinking a lot of alcohol in State House, I think is William Ruto. And eventually he became president again, and he had to look for Baba. He looked for Baba, despite Baba decided to stay back. But he looked for Baba, sat down, he convinced him. I think is the biggest conversation he had. I don't know what he promised him, but he saw a chance to get back to the presidency in 2022 through the back door, and by having his chosen person, who was not Baba. Baba was not Uru's. Baba was his tool to get the presidency, but Baba was not Uru's preferred president. So sometimes we get it wrong that we think Baba is the person who would love to be president. Uru saw Baba as the quickest opportunity to become president, to get the presidency back to the Kikuyu community again. And so he despite not even doing anything meaningful, despite not being disciplined enough to use the state resources to support Baba, he eventually, you know, from 2018 to 2022, Baba showed him how to make an impactful leadership, and eventually, you know, the expressway, rehabilitating the Kisumu-Nairobi railway line, you know, the few projects, the Kenol Muranga, you know, road, and so on. You can trace them back to Raila Amolo Odinga, who made, you know, got down to business and ensured that the president was going to leave an impact, despite not giving Baba even a single position in his government, and despite knowing very well that he was not campaigning for Baba to be president, but for at least to entrench the domination by the Kikuyu community. So I find it very absurd that somebody can wake up and say that Ruto is the worst president, you know, Ruto did this and that. Ruto has not killed even 1/10 of the number of people Uhuru Kenyatta and Kibaki killed, or any individual president of them. At some point, there was a time Uhuru, I think, killed enough Muslim clerics in this country to even warrant an outcry. At some point, you know, there was a reason behind those killings, but he kidnapped. A lot of kidnappings happened. A lot of, you know, extrajudicial killings. The rivers, you know, Yala, you know, all the rivers, you know, Tana River, the river, were full of bodies. You'd see 10, 12, 15 bodies. I didn't see the Kenya Human Rights Commission. I didn't see all these Amnesty International. These people didn't come out. They came out. When they came out, it was just for PR. They didn't come out to strongly condemn President Uhuru because they are dominated by people from the community of President Uhuru then. You know, the killings, Uhuru, when he became president, they were dealing with the issues of the Hague. And a good number of people were hunted, killed, some of them shot, some of them, you know, killed by strangulation, and so on. So when people claim that Ruto is the worst president, I think we are missing the point here. The point is, let President Ruto, you know, for the stability of the country, he might not be my preferred candidate, but for the stability of the country, you need to realize that we need at least sometimes to be loyal to the flag. We need not to be loyal to the ethnic ideologies. We need to be loyal to the flag, and the flag sometimes is very important that we keep focus on the law. So the law says that he has the mandate up to 2027. Why don't we let it be so? Why don't we give him time? Why don't we ensure that, he implements his policy, keeping him in check, ensuring that they implement them legally is okay. But when Kabando and all these ethnic chauvinists wake up every day, when Gachagua wakes up and tells you that, now he's being targeted, when Gakuya, just because he wants to be governor, despite showing that he doesn't have any competency to become a serious governor, is telling you that, unajua, sasa watu wa Murima lazima wachukuliwe serious. Let's get serious. And Nairobi cannot remain behind that wakulima market, the way it is filthy, the way food is being mishandled in that place, the way if you get into Wakulima market today, you will not eat the food which comes from that place. There has to be order. We have built very good markets, but why is everybody turning the roadside to be the biggest market? Why is every street, just because, you can mobilize your ethnic communities to come and demonstrate against the governor or somebody or the political leaders in town, does not mean that we need to have disorder. Why should we have disorder? Nairobi needs to be smart. Nairobi needs to be organized. The traders need uniform. The traders, every trader who is selling food stuff in this city needs to be registered. We need to trace the food we are eating, consuming. Can we trace it from farm to fork? Can we ensure that we color code all the traders, the people dealing with meat, the people dealing with vegetables, and so on? We ensure that, when we see somebody in green, we know, and they have a name and a number, name on one side and a number on the other side. How is it that we allow in this city that somebody comes from Burundi today and becomes a hawker and start hawking on Uru Highway? How is somebody comes and hawking food to our builders around town? What if they decide to poison? Some of these kids who are hawking food in this city are child soldiers. Former child soldiers in their own in Burundi and DRC, where they majorly come from. How is it that all the brothels now in Kilimani and so on are dominated by people from Rwanda, hunting Rwandese who are criticizing Kagame and strangling them? Why do we allow that? Why do we allow this kind of chaos in the city? Why don't we have a city of order and dignity? A city of order and dignity must and should be possible. In this country now, we have a working population of 18 million. Out of those 18 million, only 3 million are in formal employment. 15.6 million are in the informal employment. Why don't we get these people to a platform where we can trace them? We can know who is a mechanic, who is a carpenter, who is a welder, who is a saloonist, who is a vegetable food vendor, who is, who is doing electrical works and so on, who is a mason, who is a plumber. Can we know all of them? Can we register them in a platform where we can trace them? Where we can, the counties can be able to empower them. We can also give them access to financial services through the commercial banks and micro, small, enterprises, facilities. Why don't we support them through insurance services and so on? Trainings, empowerments, and so on. We cannot have a city where people come and claim their ethnic domination. We cannot have a city where the second most powerful person in the country is parroting how their community needs to be in charge of this and that. It is very unfortunate. When I see the staff of the county, when I see the fellow elected leaders in the county, I don't see their ethnicities. I see, wonderful young men and women who are just willing to serve this country. I've seen staff who, before I got into the city, I thought that they were not up to the task, but I've engaged them, I've seen them perform, I've seen them do better. I've seen business people who are getting disappointed by even people from their own ethnic communities. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter whether you are Indian, whether you are Arab or you are Muslim, you are Christian, you are Hindu, you are Kikuyu, you are Luo, you are Luya, and so on. It just matters that you have to be a dignified human being, earning your living in the most humane way and in a legal way. So I find it absurd that Gachagua could do that, but this is my thoughts that we need to not give ear to what Gachagua is saying. I think it's being promoted by NTV and Citizen TV, the two very notorious stations on this Gachagua bandwagon. But I think that kind of mentality is overtaken by time. I don't think that Kenya needs that now. So that is my thought on the same. Thank you.